Welcome, learners. My name is Mr. Poch Lola. I represent Black Slides Online. Welcome to this lesson. We are looking at experimental techniques. This is first topic in Form 3 Chemistry. Welcome, learners. If you are considering to start Form 3, learning Form 3 subjects, especially chemistry, the very first topic that you encounter is called experimental techniques. And we meet now to look at a subtopic called chemical waste. Welcome, learners. In case you'd like to join us on our main platform, don't hesitate to contact us on the numbers shared before. You can also leave a comment in the comment section if you are watching this on our YouTube channel. Simply leave a comment. Leave your number there. We are going to come back to you. We'll contact you. Welcome, learners. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, our YouTube channel, which is called Black Slides Online, consider doing so now. And also remember to hit the notification bell so that every time we upload a new material, you are notified on time. Welcome, learners. So without wasting your time, let's get down to the business of the day. Chemical waste is a subtopic, and the main topic, experimental techniques. Welcome, learners, to Black Slides. In order to understand any topic, it is important to define the topic right away, where it first appears. That's called the principle of first mention. The principle of first mention states that in order to unlock the understanding of any topic, it is important to define the topic where it first appears. So we are looking at chemical waste. Definition. We are going to define the term chemical waste as any unwanted or leftover material which is obtained from a chemical reaction or any expired chemical substance. That's an all-encompassing definition of a chemical waste. Chemical waste also includes materials that are no longer required for use in current or future laboratory experiments. Let's suppose that you are reacting an acid and a base to produce a salt. Alright, so the product may not be required in future experiments. So the salt so produced becomes a chemical waste. So you have some chemicals remaining in beakers and it's not going to be used again. Such chemicals are considered to be chemical waste. Welcome, learners. It covers both unused excess reagents or chemicals, extra chemicals, and byproducts formed during reactions. Others are considered to be chemical waste. Welcome, learners. Wastes can be categorized into classes depending on their nature, types, and examples of chemical waste. Chemical wastes can be classified as unused or spent chemicals, Chemicals that are not used, they have remained in a chemical reaction or in an experiment. Those are considered to be chemical waste. For example, the leftover liquids or solid reactants not used up in an experiment, those which remain, are considered to be unused or spent chemicals. They are a type of chemical waste. Examples of such wastes include dilute concentrated acids such as hydrochloric acid, sulfuric, and nitric acids. All these are examples of unused or spent chemicals, especially when they are leftovers in an experiment. They also include alkalis. Alkalis are bases that have been dissolved in water. Examples include sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, metal salts, and other solid chemicals. Make sure you know the examples of each type of waste. So this particular type is a type called unused spent chemicals. So these are often very corrosive, meaning that they can eat at materials. When they get in contact with materials like clothes, they can also eat at your skin, damage your skin. They are called corrosive chemicals. If you happen to swallow them by accident or to ingest them via mouth, they can also cause fatality. You can die. They're toxic. They're harmful chemicals. They can also react. They are highly reactive and cannot be disposed with ordinary trash because by the end of the day, they are going to cause a dangerous reaction which can be catastrophic to humans, including you students. Another type of waste is broken materials, broken glassware, and sharp objects. Sometimes, either accidentally or otherwise, you may end up breaking materials, glassware such as beakers, test tubes, pipettes, burettes, conical plastics, and others. They tend to become sharp objects, which, if not handled properly, they can lead to dangerous injuries, very catastrophic injuries. So damaged or cracked laboratory glass items, beakers, plastics, test tubes, pipettes, watch glasses, all these, when they're damaged or cracked, they become sharp objects and they can lead to injuries if not handled over properly. If not handled properly. So other sharp wastes include broken thermometers, glass rods, razor blades, or metal pins. All these are broken glassware or sharp objects as an example of chemical waste or type of chemical waste. So these pose a risk of cuts. You can get cuts. They can open a wound on your skin. It can lead to contamination if they hold chemical residues. These are broken glassware and sharp objects. Welcome, learners. General laboratory solid waste. Another category of chemical waste, general laboratory solid waste. These include non-reactive waste, filter paper, tissue paper. These are materials which you use for cleaning up your working bench. Let's suppose you have liquid spillages and you'd like to clean them up using filter paper, rather tissue paper. You can also use wasters, cloth. They are all general laboratory solid waste. packaging materials, and others. So plastic items, bottles, plastic bottles, prepared sticks, tubings, and stoppers, all these are examples of general laboratory solid waste. Rubber waste, rubber bands, rubber fittings, and gloves used during experiments, all these are examples of general laboratory solid waste. Welcome, learners. My name is Mr. Portugal. If you have a question to me, don't hesitate to leave your question in the comment section, or if you have our number, you can kindly text us your questions. We are going to come back to you. Another type of waste is gaseous waste. These are waste in gas form. Right, so harmful toxic gases released during chemical reactions are all gaseous waste. They include chlorine gas. For example, when you are hydrolyzing sodium chloride, a salt, one of the products is going to be chlorine gas. Sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen oxides. All these are examples of gaseous waste. Know the type of waste and its corresponding examples. So if not properly disposed of, these are hazardous to breathe. When you breathe them in, they can irritate your respiratory system, the lungs, the trachea, the bronchioles and bronchus, even the alveoli can be blocked by these gases. Welcome, learners. My name is Mr. Portugal, your teacher. So the reason why you have to learn this topic, chemical waste, is that you should be able to identify different chemical waste types, because this is the first step in a safe laboratory practice. You have heard a saying that says that better be safe than sorry. Put safety first. So you need to know the different kinds of chemical waste so that you know how to handle them. It will also help you with proper classification to ensure correct handling, storage, and disposal methods, which we are going to look at shortly. Welcome, learners. It will also reduce risk of injury. This topic, the knowledge of different kinds of waste, will reduce the risk of injury, chemical burns, poisoning, fires, or environmental pollution. Welcome, learners. So these are the reasons why you need to learn this topic. It's not just for you to prepare for your MSc exams in 2027, no, but also in order to ensure that you are working in a safe environment in the lab. Let's look at the safe ways of disposing chemical waste. To dispose waste means to get rid of waste from where they're generated. Getting rid of waste from your laboratory. How do you get rid of them? So the process of getting rid of waste is what is called the chemical disposal methods or ways. One way to dispose waste safely is to use normal waste bins. Use of normal waste bins. The purpose of using normal waste bins is to dispose of non-hazardous, non-reactive laboratory waste such as papers, paper tissues, and others. So we use normal waste bins for non-hazardous, the wastes that are not fatal, that are not dangerous are disposed of using normal waste bins. So use of normal waste bins is effective when you are recycling non-recyclable plastics. Non-recyclable waste plastics are those plastics that cannot be turned or converted into other useless materials. Wood pieces, rubber items, dirty or used paper, all these can be disposed of by use of normal waste bins. So the rule of the thumb is that this method is only for waste that poses no risk of cuts. This works best for wastes that do not cause cuts, but also those which do not react, or those which are not toxic. So you can use the normal waste bins to dispose such waste. Another technique to dispose of chemical waste safely is to use special controlled waste containers. Take note, these are not waste bins. These are special controlled waste containers. The purpose of using special controlled waste containers is to dispose of dangerous or high-risk waste to prevent injury and contamination. So wastes that are considered to be dangerous and high risk must be thrown into special controlled waste containers. So this method is suitable for sharp objects, scrapers, broken glassware, sample tubes, items contaminated with hazardous chemicals. All these can be disposed of using special controlled waste containers. And these must be emptied. The bins, the containers must be emptied from time to time, regularly. Never let them to overflow. Keep them clearly labeled. You have to label them that this container is for special waste. All right. You should indicate that this is a special controlled waste container. It means it's designed to contain sharp objects, items which are contaminated with hazardous chemicals and others. Welcome, learners. Another method is simply draining using a large volume of water. If your chemistry lab has water sinks fitted, you can dispose of some waste right away into the sink and drain with a lot of water. That's also a technique for disposing of waste in a safe manner. So the purpose of using a large volume of water is in order to dilute and safely flush soluble waste to reduce concentration and the risk of contamination. So the water is going to dilute. Once diluted, you can safely flush the soluble waste and reduce their concentration and risk. Alright, so this method is suitable for wastes that are harmless, suitable for harmless soluble inorganic salts, used as well as controlled acids and alkalis. If you are dealing with acids and alkalis, make sure you neutralize them first. It can also be used to dispose of detergents. Detergents are like liquid soaps. Welcome, learners. So the rule is, I want you to understand this, when using large volume of water, draining using a large volume of water, always use plenty of running water to dilute the waste before releasing into the drain. So these must be diluted in order to reduce concentration. Welcome, learners. Another way to dispose waste safely is to use what is called recycling. Usually the purpose of recycling is to reduce waste, to reduce the volume of waste, and also to reuse materials where possible. It involves converting waste into useful products. For example, plastics and metals can be converted into other things by a process called recycling. So recycling is suitable for unbroken clean glass, clean packaging waste, unused or clean paper. All these can be disposed of using recycling method. So the rule is ensure materials are free of chemical residue before placing in recycling bins. So make sure that the materials which are set for recycling do not contain chemical residues before recycling them. Welcome, learners. My name is Mr. Coach Lola, your teacher. We are looking at chemical waste, which is a subtopic of the Form 3 topic called experimental techniques. Last but not least, there is a method called incineration. Incineration is just burning waste in a controlled environment. It's a controlled burning of waste. To incinerate something simply means to burn it in a controlled setup. Right. Take note that incineration is not just the common burning of materials where you are burning something in the open place. That's not incineration, it's just burning. But this particular method involves controlled procedure where there is limited oxygen. All right. So this process is called incineration, burning. The purpose of incineration so what are you going to do? Okay. I know it's too much. What do I do? If you don't go to their waste, people will come. Okay. So the purpose of incineration is self-destruction of organic, flammable or toxic waste that cannot be recycled. Remember that incineration works best for waste that cannot be recycled. Examples are organic, flammable or toxic substances. So these materials that cannot be drained, those that cannot be recycled, are best disposed of using incineration. So this works best or is used in a situation where the materials to be disposed of are combustible chemical waste. Combustible means they should be able to burn. Contaminated organic materials and hazardous solids that do not produce toxic fumes when burnt. So those materials can be incinerated, can be burnt. So the rule is this must be done in a controlled, approved incinerator. So an incinerator is basically a structure that is built up in order to burn waste. Remember the waste that are Qualified for this method include combustible chemical wastes, contaminated organic wastes, hazardous solids, which do not produce toxic fumes when burnt. So this must be done in a controlled, approved incinerator in order to avoid air pollution and release toxic gases. Welcome, learners. All right, so thank you very much for being there. But as usual, before I go, I'd like to leave work which you must do. Okay, so I have a series of questions here for you to work on. Define the term chemical waste and give 2 examples of such waste from the laboratory. So we looked at the definition of chemical waste and examples. Question number 2. State the most suitable method of disposal for each of the following laboratory wastes: broken glass beakers and used scalpels, cleaner broken glassware and unused filter paper, distilled neutralized hydrochloric acid solution, and non-recyclable plastic strips and dirty rubber bands. So one of the methods can apply to each of these cases. All right, so we've looked at quite a number of methods of disposing waste. So say which of these would apply. Which method? State the method suitable. Most suitable method of disposal for each of these. So answer these questions and send me a picture of your answers to the WhatsApp number which I shared earlier on. Explain why special controlled waste containers must be used instead